Good afternoon. My name's Noni Carr. I'm the Principal Psychologist and owner of Enhanced Life Psychology in Melbourne, Australia. I am coming to you on this lovely spring afternoon on World Mental Health Day on the 10th of October. It's a day where we recognise mental health, not just mental ill health, and we recognise the things that we do to enhance our own mental health and to help those around us enhance and strengthen their mental health. And so I've been looking at some social media today, and I've seen lots and lots of posts about mental health and Mental Health Day. Lots of people representing what they think is important about mental health, and what they think is important about recognising recognising what mental health issues might be and the most common ones, and helping to provide information to those people who might not be aware of what we mean when we talk about mental health. So some of these things might be depression and anxiety. And depression is one of those things. Depression and anxiety are both spoken about in society, often in reference to things that might not actually be what we consider diagnosable issues. Things like a major depressive disorder, or a major depressive episode, or maybe even generalised anxiety disorder, or one of the other anxiety disorders. So we often overestimate what we might be experiencing, but some people also underestimate what they might be experiencing. And what research is now showing us is that anxiety is the most commonly experienced mental health disorder, and depression is the second most common. And the statistics suggest that 1 in 5 Australians will experience a mental health issue at some point in their life, and that might be anxiety or depression. When we talk about depression, we often refer to a number of things. We talk about a number of characteristics that might indicate a serious depressive episode or a depression disorder, and those things might be, a mood, a low, flat, or sad mood that is being persistent for more than 2 weeks. We might also talk about a lack of motivation to engage in activities that they would usually enjoy. So that might also include losing contact with their friends, or withdrawing from that social interaction that they would usually engage in. It might also include changes to our diet or sleep patterns. So we might sleep more or less than normal, or we might eat more or less than normal, along with a couple of other symptoms. But all of these symptoms occur persistently over a period of at least 2 weeks. Then we talk about anxiety. And obviously anxiety is normal, just like depression or just like sadness. Anxiety is sometimes referred to by people in common discussion as stress, or it might be nervousness or worry. Anxiety becomes problematic, and it might be diagnosed as a disorder when it is starting to affect one's general behaviour, and it might be starting to prevent you engaging in activities that you would usually engage in, or those anxiety-provoking thoughts, the thoughts that we might term anxious thoughts, are persistent and invasive in what you're talking about, on what you're engaging in. So if you're doing something, if you're having a conversation with friends, or if you're doing your work, and those anxious thoughts are just kind of getting stuck in and invading and distracting you from what you're wanting to focus on, then that anxiety might be becoming problematic and might then prevent you engaging in those activities that you would like to engage in. So I think it's important to recognise that anxiety is normal, and when we talk about it, it's when I explain anxiety to my clients, I explain it as a very normal process, and it's a survival mechanism. It's part of that fight, flight, freeze or threat response. So when we feel threatened, we need to be able to fight for survival, run away for survival, or maybe freeze or hide for survival. And this is something that all animals engage in, and it's a response to the threat to our survival. The thing is, we're not physically threatened as much anymore definitely not in the Western world. And so this primitive part of our brain that still activates this threat response, this survival response, now responds often to cognitive threats. So the threat of, what are other people going to think about me? What are they going to say? Oh my goodness, I'm going to make a mistake. Or I'm going to fall over, or I'm going to die, or I can't control my heart rate, or I can't breathe. I'm not going to be able to breathe. I'm going to have a heart attack. So the anxiety takes over, and the physiological symptoms of anxiety, which enable us to fight or run away or hold ourselves incredibly still while we hide, will actually intensify and prevent us from engaging in those activities that we like to do. So it's important to understand that anxiety is normal, depression is, or differences in our moods, so fluctuations in our moods. So sometimes we feel sad, sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we feel frustrated, or sometimes we feel just a little bit flat. And so these are normal. When it becomes persistent, when anxiety or depression becomes persistent and are preventing you engaging in the normal activities of your day-to-day life, then they're becoming potentially problematic, and if there's no other explanation for them, then maybe it might be helpful to seek some help. So this is about looking after your mental health. So there are other things apart from these recognised mental health issues. When we talk about mental health or mental well-being, we talk about what are things that we can do to enhance our well-being in our day-to-day life if we're not experiencing depression or anxiety that's impacting on our life. So this might be, we might decide to enhance our life by engaging in a physical activity. So riding a bike, or going for a walk, or going for a run, or going and doing some personal training or boot camp, or maybe it's going rock climbing, or maybe it's jumping out of a plane. These things are things that help us have fun and excitement and enhance our physical well-being, our physical health. And then there are things that enhance our emotional well-being, and that might be engaging in social activity. So it might be catching up with friends for a coffee. Maybe it's going for a bike ride or for a walk with friends. Sometimes it's having a break while you're at work and having a chat to your work colleagues, and that can be helpful for your mental health. Sometimes it's really helpful to go and see a psychologist, to go and chat to them. You might not have a specified mental health issue, but maybe you just want some more clarity on some issues in your life. Maybe you want to have a chat about relationships, or maybe you want to have a chat about work direction, career direction, or how you're studying, or maybe it's about your relationships at home or at work. I think I just repeated myself. So seeing a psychologist isn't necessarily always about helping you find a solution to a problem or helping you to manage a situation. Sometimes it might be actually about helping you live the life that you want to lead and live a life where you are experiencing well-being and mental well-being, so enhancing your health. So what I'd also like to talk to you today about, what I'd like to recognise, is that we often rely on people in our lives. And I've had a little bit to do with raising funds for a wonderful organisation called the Love Me, Love You Foundation. And this foundation is all about raising awareness for mental health among young people. So they provide education, talks and lectures, or not lectures, but programs for schools, for students at schools. They also provide support for young people who might be struggling with mental health issues. And one of the things they're doing this week in Mental Health Week, and particularly today on World Mental Health Day, is asking you to recognise the 5 people who you rely on for support in your life. And they've got a wonderful campaign on Facebook and I think Instagram as well. So it's the Love Me, Love You Foundation, about people recognising those people who provide support to them in their life. So I would recognise my partner and my friends who I catch up with on a regular basis, often when I'm writing. Not always when I'm writing though, and also the people that I speak to on a professional basis. And these people provide me support so that I can continue doing the work that I do as a psychologist, but also provide me support in my personal life to live an enhanced life full of mental well-being and mental health. So it might be helpful it might be nice to have a look at have a search for Love Me, Love You, and have a look at it and see if you can tag your mates who support you in your journey for mental well-being and mental health. So right now I'm going to look at the time and I'm going to finish this, as I need to go and look after my mental health and well-being by going for a bike ride with a group of friends and catching up on the chatter and gossip that we often do on a Tuesday night. So I look forward to seeing some more posts about the mates that support you in your mental health. And if you are struggling in your mental health, please don't hesitate to message me or call one of the wonderful support telephone helplines to help you find someone who might be able to support you in your mental health. And I look forward to helping you or not, but I hope that you live an enhanced life and you're able to enhance your well-being today. Thank you very much. Bye.